Is it already live? It's still spinning. Let's just wait a second. All right. I think it's done with the spinning. Okay. So I did a whole thing yesterday, no sound. That was kind of oops. Probably all for the best. So today is take two. Um, what have I been thinking about? Okay. There are there's a few steps that sometimes people skip over in order to give advice. Um, And so if there's something you want or some goal that you have for yourself, first step is to know that you want it, right? So if you I don't know why Los Angeles, let's say San Diego. You want to go to San Diego. Um in order to know how to get to San Diego, first you have to decide I want to go to San Diego. That's step 1. And then the second step, and this is the step I think people skip all the time, is where are you? Are you in Napomo like I am? Because getting from Napomo to San Diego is different than getting from Australia to San Diego. You understand that, right? Getting from Utah to San Diego is different than getting from Portland to San Diego. Should you go north or south? Well, that depends. Are you in Mexico? Then go north. If you're in San Francisco, go south. Okay, so, and there's 100 different ways to go to San Diego. There's not just one way to get there, right? There's a lot of different ways. But in order for you to pick the way that's right for you always have to know where you are. So there's a paradox here, and what's really hard about this is only you can figure out what works for you. But especially in the weight loss surgery community and the bariatric community, but I think in all communities, honestly, it just other people have other ways of manifesting it, but really everybody, um, you're wrong about what works for you. Here, I'm 52 years old now, and I'm looking at my life, and I feel like I've created a character for a game, like whether you're, I've never actually played tabletop D&D or something like that, but like a video game, like you picked the characteristics, and now you're walking around the world as a armored bard or whatever, and and now that you know how the game is played, you're like, crap, nothing, everything my character's good at, it doesn't matter in this game at all, right? Like that's kind of how I feel. Like I went through life and I created this character who's really good at certain things, and the things I thought didn't matter, like fun or courage or other things that I didn't value as in my youth, you're like, oh crap, that shit's actually really important. So anyway, I wish I could erase my character sheet and start over. And in some ways I kind of have, but in some ways, like kind of like Duck was talking about in the video this morning, for those of you in the challenge with me, um, your life has changed, and in some ways it hasn't changed at all, right? You still have those same fears, those same patterns built into your brain. Okay. So how do you figure so it's that's the paradox. Only you can figure out how to get from where you are to where you want to be. You're the only one. No one else can can tell you what to do. And at the same time, you're wrong. Like you're just because if you knew how to get to San Diego and you were doing all the things that would take you there, that's where you'd be. You're not in San Diego, so you're wrong. You need to listen to other people who have traveled this path. And then as you listen, so that there's a paradox here, because you need to set aside your own judgment enough to hear how other people are traveling a road that you've never been down, that you don't even know what it's like. Okay. And at the same time, you have to take you have to know where you are enough to take in what you can take in right now. And this is part of the magic of life, is that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So when you're ready to make a little bit more of a change, you'll make it. There are people that I invited to be part of this challenge who I know would benefit from it. I'm 100% sure that I'm right about that. But the idea of having an accountability partner was so terrifying to them, and their legitimate reasons of why they feel that way, that they wouldn't do that. And for me, exercising that muscle I was ready to do it a year ago to say, okay, well, I can call someone for 5 minutes a day and I don't have to be their best friend. And I, that's enough. I can do that. And then practicing that, I got better and better and better. And then I not only developed a relationship with my accountability partner, I developed relationships with all kinds of other people because that muscle of reaching out is something that is stronger in me. It's still not natural. I'm still not good at it. There's still, you might be watching this video and you might be the friend that I've been neglecting. I'm sorry. I'm still bad at it, but I'm better at it because I've gotten better and because I was willing to say, okay, this guy's telling me that if I meditate for 5 minutes a day and I talk to someone, it'll make a difference. Um, I'll tell you one thing, how to lose weight. There's one way. Eat fewer calories than you burn. That's the only way that there is to lose weight. Why is that bullshit advice? It's true. That is literally the very definition of weight loss, and it is the only way. Surgery makes that happen. Keto makes that happen. Intermittent fasting makes that happen. Weight Watchers makes that happen. 100 other ways also make that happen. Everyone who's ever lost weight took in fewer calories than they burned. Always. But what if you make bad decisions when you're tired and what you really need to do is work on sleep first? The only way to find that out is to talk to someone who says, you know what you need to do is is make sure you're getting enough rest. And then, and someone else says, you know what? The reason why you can't sleep is because you're not getting enough exercise. So you don't need to exercise to lose weight or to burn calories. What you need to do is be taking a walk often enough that you're actually tired when it's time to go to bed. And then your mind will, it becomes a walking meditation. And there's all kinds of reasons why exercise is good for you for your mental health, right? And then you sleep better. Um, I just, randomly Googled how to lose weight. What does it say here? Eat breakfast every day. That's bullshit advice. I do the opposite of that and it works for me. Is there a reason why they tell you to eat breakfast every day? Yes. And so listen to it like, oh, here's someone who does it differently. Is this something I need to do now? Choose your liquid calories wisely, eat more produce, fruits and vegetables, blah, blah, blah. I think the biggest thing is being willing to change. I'll give you an example. I was in a weight loss stall. I lost a lot of weight with surgery, the way that normal people do in the honeymoon period. I didn't gain any back, but I was stalled. And then guess what happened? Guess what? What change did I tried intermittent fasting. I tried increasing my water intake. None of that made any difference. What made a difference? Duck knows. I hired someone to clean my house. And correlation is not causation, but you guys, decluttering, having an organized workspace, having a place where things go, having more control over my environment, having a clean kitchen, having no, because why was I obese? The root cause of my obesity had to do with pain, with trauma, with feeling, with numbing out. It was a food addiction that numbs out your feelings, okay? And if you don't deal with why you need to be numb, then you're going to need to be numb. And then if you don't, um, then if it's not food, it'll be something else, right? Then you'll have a shopping, a gambling, a alcohol addiction, or whatever. Transfer addictions are a thing in the bariatric community. There's a reason, because if you don't deal with the reason you need to be numb and become and get secure and well adjusted enough to the point where you actually work through your feelings, then you're just going to get numb in a different way. So do be careful about who is allowed to give you homework. Do be careful about who you accept feedback. Don't take criticism from someone that you don't, you wouldn't want to walk in their path. But just uh, understand that when someone criticizes you, it's more about them and how they see the world. It's not about you. But when you're so not at peace, so like another one of the steps that helps. I'm rambling and like jumping all over. I have 7 TED Talks working in my head at the same time, and I should only give one of them at a time. But you need to know where you are. The only way for you to know where you are is to sit with yourself. That's meditation comes in there. And then also to get a little bit vulnerable, to find a tribe of people you can talk to. And it doesn't have to be people close to you or people that you know. It can be in the challenge, it can be in some other group. It might be your coworkers, probably not. It's more likely to be in a group like this. And I have a few different groups of strangers on the internet now. What do they call them? Pocket friends or something? I don't, that's not what I call them, but people who can give me feedback, and I see how they're changing it, and then I see how it's working for them, and that helps. So there are a few steps towards healing that at someday you probably need to take. One of those is learning how to ask for help. One of those is reaching out to people. One of those is giving and receiving feedback. One of those is, and sometimes you're just not ready, and that's okay. And only you know when you're ready. I think, you know, when you hear someone like Duck yelling at us in the morning, it's him saying, just do it, try something, do something different. And I have been. Have I taken every piece of advice that Duck has given me in the last year? No, I have not. Um, I took what I was ready for. And now that I've my house is more organized, my to-do list is actually functioning, my um I've got my green smoothie and my salad and my water is better than it was. And I'm like, you know what? He's been telling me I have to get up in the morning and not sleep in on Saturdays. But I can't keep a promise to myself. I keep letting myself down. I keep not doing it. So now, after all of these practicing that I've had with how to build up my support system so I actually have one, um, I was able to ask people to help me in a way that didn't feel so risky. Because before, if I asked someone for help and they said no, it would have been the end of the world. It would have meant that I needed to not belong on this planet and nobody loves you and everybody hates you and blah, blah, blah. Would have freaked out. But because I was in a secure place where I could say, is this something you're interested in? And if that person said yes or no, I'd be fine. Then what do you know? They happen to say yes. Great. Now I have some other people that I need to keep promises to so that I can build that muscle until I'm ready to keep promises to myself. I'm not there. People who are all the way in and really have deeply embodied self respect wouldn't consider letting themselves down. They have themselves at the top of their list. I'm not there yet. And being honest with myself about where I am and understanding that right now, in order for me to practice this, I need to have a few other things built in. See, in the past, I would have said it requires someone else, then it's impossible. Can't be done. And that was my fixed mindset. So it just learning to make space in your head for another way of seeing the world will really, really help you. It will go a long way. And just practicing non-judgment, practicing not valuing your opinion on whether you like the food or not. You don't have to like it. You just have to eat it. It doesn't matter. It does a body good whether you like it or not. So practice eating things you don't like. It doesn't matter. It's okay. And it doesn't have to be, a whole plate. It can be 3 bites, 2 bites of, even yesterday I took a bite of a fish taco. I don't like fish, but took a bite. No, doesn't matter. I still had omega 3s in my system. I didn't finish it. I didn't want to. But being willing to do something that I don't usually do has gotten me to where I am. And when I was stuck, it was because I insisted that I had to be stuck. So whether you think you can, whether you think you can't, you're right. Um, but do you want to be right about, you know, would you rather be smart or happy? It's kind of that thing like, well, great, now you're so smart, but it's not making you happy. How happy about that are you really? So lean back. The only way to know where you are is to get a sense of that from reflecting off of other people. So listen to others. You don't have to do things the way everybody else does them. You don't have to fit into this culture, and being well adjusted to a sick culture is not a sign of help. Um, so Be open to doing things differently. Find out how other people do things. Give yourself permission to do things messily and not and imperfectly, and you'll be better off. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that. I am interested in what you think about bullshit advice that maybe you've been given, or advice that you thought was bullshit that actually, like, oh, I do need to make my bed. Oh, brushing my teeth is more important than I thought. Oh, like, what do you know? My mom was right. Eat your vegetables, drink your water. Some things we want you to just trust us on. But even, what's another one? Love yourself. That's bullshit advice. How the are you supposed to do that? You can't just love yourself. You have to work up, you have to start with why don't you love yourself? And honestly, for me, the path to get there was practicing forgiving others, even the really bad ones. And then I started to be capable of seeing the innocence in myself. Some people go the other direction. Some people start with seeing their own innocence, and then once they realize that um, they were always just doing the best they could, then they start to see that that's true of others. I don't know which way you need to do it, but practice something, try something. And all that time when I was at my highest weight, when I was um, being an imperfect mother and a tired, worn out mom or whatever, I wasn't failing. I was learning. And um, if that's another thing I didn't value as a teenager. For instance, sports. There's a lot of sports analogies that really do work in life. And because I didn't value it, I didn't learn it that way. I learned it another way, and that's okay. But just try on somebody else's point of view once in a while. Lean back. If I can give you anything that I think would apply to everybody, start with meditation. Mirror work is hard, but it's really good. It's really powerful. I'm not there yet. I don't know. I think meditation is a really good place to start, because then once you get quiet, um, you can. But just let people in your life, give yourself permission to interact with other people, give yourself permission to be seen. I don't know. Maybe you're not ready. That's okay. But don't give up. And I'll see you later. Bye, guys.